Alright, we're back again in Pixlr. I'm going to head right into Pixlr X, and instead of going back into our practice picture, we are going to create something brand new today. So I'm going to click on Create New. I'll leave it on this Full HD option. I'm going to call this one Pictures, because that's what we're going to be dealing with today. I'm going to leave everything else the way it is and click Create. Now we have this checkerboard background, and we need to fill it with stuff. But instead of going to our drawing options, we are instead going to go right down to the bottom right over here. Let me show you. And click on our plus sign again to create a new layer. Now before, what we did is we chose empty, but this time we're going to choose image. And we're going to search for a picture to put on here. Alright, my pictures have gone right into my downloads folder, which is what I want. And I'm going to choose one of these to add. Click it, click open. And it's going to show up right here. It's going to automatically open up this menu over here. And I can click and drag on it to move it around. I can grab the corners and resize it, bigger or smaller. I can rotate it if I want by grabbing this top circle. Okay. We've got all sorts of options in that way. We can even flip it, rotate it 90 degrees. And we can change the transparency just like our painting so that we can see through it. We'll check that out once we get a second picture on here. But what I want to talk to you today about is our picture options. All right, we have a couple of them here. Number one is the adjustment option. Okay, lots of different slider bars here that we can use. We can change the whole thing to black and white, get rid of all the color. We can invert the color, make them complete opposites. We can adjust the color more subtly by changing the vibrance or the saturation. This is how intense the colors are. Same thing for saturation. All right, if we turn saturation all the way down, it takes the color out until, again, it's black and white, just like clicking this option up here. Can change the temperature, the tint, the hue. HUE is just a fancy word for the color, and this slider will adjust what colors are being shown. So I can change all the colors in this picture that I found. All right. If we go down to light, we can change the brightness. We can make it lighter. We can make it darker. All right. We can change the contrast. Contrast is a wonderful thing to adjust if you're finding a picture that's not quite as good as you want it to be. Contrast is how dark the darks are and how light the lights are. So if we crank this up, you can see that all the light areas are getting even brighter and all the dark areas are getting even darker. All right, if we turn it down, it's going to go the other way and everything's going to kind of come to a middle-ish, grayish value. All right, you can see here that we don't have anything that's real dark and nothing that's real light either. And if we go all the way down, we end up with just a gray screen. So in my pictures, I usually like to bump up the contrast a little bit. All right, there's other things that you can play around with here, and there are whole other options here that you can play around with as well if you'd like to colorize your picture or play with these curves here by clicking on the line and moving it around, seeing how that affects your picture. But for now, I'm just going to click cancel, and we're going to go on to the next one. That was adjust. Now we're going to move on to filter. Now this is something that I assume you may be used to. All right, we can blur our picture if we want. We can add a vignette. That's a little dark area around the edges. Or if we go the other way, it creates a light vignette, highlighting what's in the center. All right, we can posterize this, which kind of separates the colors into different levels. So with a high posterization, you might not be able to tell, but if we go down, now our picture is only made up of a couple different colors instead of all that were there before. We can pixelate it, changing it into a bunch of squares. We can mosaic it, which I believe, yeah, we get triangles, adding different textures. All right, I'm going to click cancel again. And now we're going to get into effects. All right, just like on the Instagram, we can adjust our picture to be exactly the way we want it. Okay, Some of the more exciting ones are these artsy ones where you can change the color scheme, or the textures that are there. Wow, that one's pretty cool. Okay. So you're able to adjust the picture to make it exactly how you want it. All right. I'm going to go back up to this option right here, arrange. This is what lets me move things around. And then I'm going to go back. There was that one filter that I really liked. Let's go to that. Yeah, this Bloomberg. I'm going to leave this on Bloomberg. But then I'm going to add another picture. Come down here to the plus. Click on image. And then I'm going to grab Van Gogh, pixelized Van Gogh here. And I'm going to make a beautiful work of art that contains two pictures that I was able to find from the internet. All right, now you can see if I do transparency, you start to be able to see through Van Gogh to the picture that's behind it. But I can also just use this to, I think I want the saturation on this one to go up, make my colors a little bit more intense. Something like that, and maybe turn the contrast up as well. Just a little bit. Okay. Now I can keep doing this, keep adding layers with images on them until, that's not what I want. I'm going to delete this layer. Plus, image. Choose my image. Until I have a work of art that's made up of a bunch of different pictures that I like. All right, and I know that I like them because I can adjust them over here with these three options: the adjustment, the filter, and the effect. So for today, I'd like you to create kind of what I've done right here. I want you to have at least 3 pictures, and I want to be able to tell that you've used at least one of these adjustment tabs to change the picture that you found. Once that's done, you can click on the Save button. Make sure you're selected on JPEG, and then click on Download, and that's the file that you're going to turn into me on the Google Classroom, showing me that you know how to put images into Pixlr and how to adjust them. Okay? Good luck with that, and I'll see you in the next one.